Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's live onboarding and Ask Me Anything. I'm Tim from Ledger, and today I'm going to be handling mostly the live onboarding. We're going to be setting up a Ledger Nano S Plus today. We did a Ledger Nano X, I believe, last week, so trying to change it up a little bit. We should, let's see, I believe, yep, looks like we got a moderator in the chat. Ben, huge shout out. Thank you. He's going to be doing his best to answer all you guys' questions kind of while I go through this. If you did come here to ask questions, direct them to the chat. Ben will help you out. However, if you came here just to see how a device was set up, maybe you're a new user, go ahead and sit back and enjoy the show. Hopefully you learned something. But for you as well, if you also have questions and you would like for me to elaborate on anything, drop it in the chat, and Ben can ping me and be like, hey, can you go over this in a little bit more detail? Because while I'm going through the device setup, I may not see all the chats. It's super easy to miss comments in the chat when I'm going through that. So without further ado, I guess let's just get started on this. All right, cool. All right, so full disclosure, this is a Nano S Plus. You'll see that there is no plastic wrapping on it, and that's because we have set this device up multiple times. So after we set it up in a live onboarding, we will factory reset it. That way we can use it again for following weeks. So if you're wondering, like, why it's not a full unboxing or why it doesn't have the plastic, that's the reason. But for all intents and purposes, this is a completely wiped device, completely new. This process will be the exact same for you if you are unboxing your Nano right now as well. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what's inside. So simulate taking off the plastic wrapping. That's gone, so we'll take off the sleeve. And then you have this black box, or perhaps different depending on when you purchase your Nano S Plus. We do change the branding every once in a while, so if your box does look a little different, see if I have an example. Like we have, like the white boxes. We have, if you have a custom Nano, maybe it'll also look a little bit different. I don't have any other examples sitting right next to me, but yeah, so your box may look a little different, but that's okay. All right, so you got your actual Nano S Plus that is inside this sleeve right here, and then right after you pull it out, you'll see it says ledger.com/start. We're going to go to that here in a minute on Chrome to show you what that looks like. But that's basically like first thing to do, go to ledger.com/start to get started. And it'll kind of like walk you through the process from there. So we'll go set the Nano down. And then also inside the box, we've got the this orange packet right here, which is the secret recovery sheets. The Nano S Plus does come with 3 secret recovery sheets. However, you may notice after I pull these out that this one only has 2, and that's because we did use one in a previous onboarding, in a previous setup. So this one's now down to 2, and we only have 1 left. We're going to be using this one today to set up our Nano with our 24-word recovery phrase, which we'll write down in here. And we'll get more into detail on all this later. Let's just continue on with the unboxing. We're going to sit down our recovery sheets. And then we're going to pop off this little mold right here that holds those things in place. And you'll see there's a pink packet underneath. Go and pull that out. Inside the pink packet, you've got just some literature to kind of help you get started, to help you understand what your device is, how to care for it, how to get started. In case you didn't see the ledger.com/start or if you have a Nano X, it doesn't have that little cutout where it says that. It'll have this info in there as well, tell you where to get started, how to care for your device, and then some stickers, which, everyone likes stickers. I actually keep my stickers on my badge. Check it out. So yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in. Put that down for now. And then now, if you see that there's also this little thing, if you pull this out right here, last item, and some people actually do miss this. It's, I guess not super clear, but yeah, this is where the cable is kept. So if you open up the box, slide it out, you'll see that is the Ledger branded cable that comes with your Nano S Plus. If you have a Nano X, it'll be very similar. It'll be the last thing underneath. It's not, I believe it's not inside a little packet like this. However, it is completely underneath, so you'll find it if you keep digging through the box. Go ahead and just put that back in. We're not going to use this cable. I actually already have a cable set up, hooked up to my computer to make this easier. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this right back into the box. Slip this thing back in. We'll slip this thing back in. And then I'm going to put all this to the side because we no longer need it. Yeah, so let's go ahead and switch the view. So you'll see that I got the Nano S Plus sitting right here. I got the secret recovery sheet that I'm going to be using sitting right here. And I'm going to now, on Google Chrome, I'm going to go to ledger.com/start. All right, so basically it's just gonna have you download Ledger Live. That's the first step. You have to have Ledger Live. You will not be able to set up your, you actually, take that back. You can fully set up your device without Ledger Live. You do not need Ledger Live or a computer or really anything other than a power source and your Nano to randomly generate your secured 24-word recovery phrase. This is actually an important thing to convey to new users, is that Ledger Live, even if you download it first and you go through the setup with, I already have it downloaded right here, you see. But if you go through the get started steps right here, Ledger Live will never have access to your 24-word recovery phrase. It's possible to completely set this up. Like I can plug this Nano into a wall outlet and I can go through the process, generate my recovery phrase, and then after the fact, I can connect to Ledger Live, knowing that it's secure inside the device and not shared with Ledger Live. Let me switch back. And this is an important thing to understand because this is actually how your device keeps your asset safe. Is your recovery phrase is the ultimate backup to all of your crypto accounts. And so as long as you keep them stored inside your device and you never actually share it online, like don't put any copy of your recovery phrase online, don't like enter it into any applications. That's how you truly keep it safe. So I like to bring this up during the initial process, just that people can kind of rest easy knowing that, like, okay, well, like I have to use Ledger Live to update my device. I have to use Ledger Live to install Nano apps. What else does Ledger Live have access to? And the answer is it does not have access to your private keys ever, not ever. So yeah, so let's continue with the setup. Okay, so first things first, we already have Ledger Live downloaded. So if I clicked here, of course, that would install the application. But we already got it to kind of speed things up for this demonstration. So yeah, we're going to proceed right from here to plugging in our Nano. Like I mentioned before, we could go through Ledger Live and go through all the prompts in Ledger Live to actually go through the setup process, but I want to do it outside of Ledger Live for this demonstration, just to kind of hammer home the point that I just made. Okay, cool. So we have opening screen. Welcome to Ledger Nano S Plus. This is going to tell you how to use the device. So you have these two buttons up on top. You've got your left button and your right button. So clicking the right button will take you to the right. Clicking the left button will take you back to the left. And pressing both buttons at the same time simultaneously will make a selection. Now, you don't want to hold both buttons down for an extended period of time. You just want to quickly tap both buttons to make a selection. So let's go over here. It's telling you to download Ledger Live, which we already have on the screen. It's now telling you what I just told you, how to navigate, how to select. And then holding both buttons down at any time will bring you to the settings menu. This is a very common thing that new users go through, is they're like, hey, yeah, I'm pressing both buttons and it's just taking me to this control center and it's not letting me proceed. And so if you find yourself in that situation, it's likely that you're just holding the buttons down for too long. So try to do like a real quick press, like just tap, like, okay, select. So yeah, so we'll go here. Okay. Ledger Live will help if you're new and you're not following along and you're planning on setting this up later. Remember that clicking here on the Get Started, and then we're going to choose Ledger Nano S Plus. So you have these two options right here. So if I do this, set up a new Nano S Plus, this is going to take me through all the steps that we're about to go through, and it's going to, like, one after another, it's going to explain things. In fact, let's just do it that way. Let's just do it that way. That way you can see. It really isn't going to take much more time to do that. All right, so let's do that. Let's click this option. Here's some basics. It's let's see. So your crypto assets are stored on the blockchain. You need private keys to manage them. That's a good message. This is basically saying that your crypto is never actually stored in Ledger Live. Even though it may seem at first glance, like when you set up your Ledger and you create your account, it may seem like you're sending crypto into Ledger Live or potentially even into your Nano, but neither of those things are true. Your crypto is never inside your device or inside Ledger Live. Your crypto is only ever on the blockchain as a transaction, and your Nano device holds the private keys that let you access those accounts, and Ledger Live is simply the interface that pulls in blockchain data to let you know what you have and to help you manage your assets. So it's an important distinction to understand, and we can get more into that later. So we can go to that. So own your private key. It's just reiterating what I just said. Okay, stay offline. Cold storage means that your private keys are not online in any way. If you were to save your 24-word recovery phrase, for instance, in a notes application or a password manager application, it is technically no longer cold storage because now your recovery phrase is exposed to the internet. And so any vulnerability with those applications could result in a loss of your funds if someone got your recovery phrase. And so yeah, so that's actually like the main way that your Nano keeps your assets safe, is that it keeps this recovery phrase offline. This really can't be like it can't be overstated. Like this is the most important concept when setting up a cold storage device. Let me switch back real quick. Your device will only keep you as safe as you keep your own assets, meaning that how you manage your 24-word recovery phrase is very important to your overall security in the crypto space. Your device, you can always trust it. It's not going to leak your recovery phrase. It's impossible. It's stored on a secure element that cannot be accessed through the USB port. It cannot be accessed in any way by any malicious website, DApp, anything you're connecting to. However, if you do put your recovery phrase in, then you've just kind of sacrificed that security because it's no longer air gapped. It's no longer stored offline where a computer physically cannot get to it because it just does not, that information doesn't exist online. So if you make that information exist online, then it creates a potential for someone else to access that information. So make sure you keep your private keys, your 24-word recovery phrase completely offline, written down, stored somewhere safe. Okay, I'm going to continue now. I always go into a lot of detail during this step because, well, it's my job to keep you guys safe in the crypto space, and this is the most important lesson to learn on staying safe in crypto. Okay, all right, let's do this. Okay, hopefully it doesn't take quite that long, but I do talk a lot, so we will see. Okay, so it's telling us to turn on our Nano. Browse around, select setup as new device. So let's go ahead and do that. So you scroll to the right, you see the first option is setup as new device. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see. Yep, there we go. Setup as new device. Scroll once more to the right. And then you have another option, restore from recovery phrase. So you would choose this option if you already had a recovery phrase. Like let's say you had like an older device, or maybe you lost your Nano, or it got stolen or broken, it no longer works, and then you pick up a new Nano and you already have a recovery phrase. You'd be able to import your existing words into your new Nano using this option, and it'll make it a clone of your old device. You'll be able to access all your same accounts. So you'll be able to restore access to your accounts that way. But we're going to set up as a new device today. We want to generate a new recovery phrase. So we're going to quickly double tap to select this. And the first step is to set up your PIN. So we're going to choose for this purpose, for this video, I'm going to choose a nice easy PIN. I'm just going to go 1 1 1 1. And so after you enter in a minimum of 4, it'll automatically take you to the check mark. So that's all that's required is 4. However, you'll see if I wanted to, I can make my PIN up to 8 characters in length. But again, I'm not going to do that for this video. However, for your own Nano, highly recommend doing a full 8-digit PIN, as random as possible. Like I wouldn't do like a phone number, something that's easy to guess, because if someone were to steal your Nano and guess your PIN, then they would be able to sign transactions from your accounts without any further resistance. The PIN is what keeps people out of your device. So yes, I'm going to go and do that. Check mark. I'm going to confirm my PIN. One, and then also check this out. So you see the little underscore underneath the number right there. When I select a number, it randomly jumps to another number. It's always going to be a random jump somewhere. It may even jump to the X, to the backspace. It's just going to jump randomly somewhere. And that's actually a security feature. See, it's under the 6 now. A security feature designed to help you be more obscure if you're using your Nano in a public place. Like if somebody is like sitting across the room trying to count your button clicks to try to determine what your PIN is, they wouldn't be able to do that. It would because it goes to a random space. So you have to just, yeah, it's always different. All right, so we got 1111. I'm going to confirm that. It accepted that. I'm going to write down my recovery phrase now. All right, so your device will generate 24 words. They're your recovery phrase. It's your only backup to restore your accounts if needed. That is very, very, very important. If you lose this, break this, anything happens to this thing, then this is actually the most important part is the words that you're about to write down. Your Nano itself is just a copy of your key. Think about it like this is like the master key to your crypto vaults. These 24 words will always be able to get you into your crypto accounts. However, that's all that's stored in the device. So think of your device, your Nano, as being like a copy of the key to your crypto vaults. And if you lose it, not too big of a deal as long as you still have the master key, which is your actual 24 words, which you can then easily import into a new Nano and create another copy of your key. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go down. And then right here, make sure that you write them down in the correct order. That's very important. We're going to talk about that more in a minute when we're actually writing them down. And yeah, we're going to go press both buttons to get this process started. All right, so I'm going to set this down. And I'm going to start writing these words. This is probably the most tedious part of the process. Most important, but most tedious. But take your time during this process. You don't want to make a mistake. If you notice on this recovery sheet, let me lift it up a little bit to show you. The Nano S Plus has a recovery sheet that's numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, so from top to bottom on these rows. And so on the Nano X recovery sheet, it could be labeled from left to right, or on other the order that your words are in is very, very important. If you were to try to restore your Nano, like you lost your Nano, you're trying to restore with your words, but you wrote them down 1, 2, 3 in the wrong order, you're not going to be able to regain access to your accounts unless you happen to realize that you did that and then you manually entered them in the correct order. So make sure you write them down in the correct order to avoid any future confusion if you have to restore your accounts. Okay, I'm going to start with this. Make sure you write nice and neat as possible. I have been practicing my actual handwriting so I can be more neat in these demonstrations. My first couple live streams, my writing was, I didn't realize how messy and sloppy it had gotten from just lack of use. Okay. And the reason for that is I can go into a little bit more detail. Hopefully I can multitask. It's kind of hard to multitask during this step without making a mistake, but I'll do my best. So all recovery words come from the same list of 2048 total possible words. This is where all recovery phrases come from. And this is known as the BIP 39 word list, BIP 39, which is Bitcoin Improvement Protocol. And really, this is just basically think about it as like the standard that all current wallets follow to derive accounts based on recovery phrase. It's just that standard that kind of dictates that. So this is a list of words that can be found online, and I will show you here in a little bit where they come from. But just remember that it is a set list of words, and there are some words on this list that look similar to other words. One example would be like the word blue and the word blur, which are both on this list. And if you're writing messy, then it could be really easy to accidentally confuse those words. And if you don't, and if you even get one word wrong when you're trying to regain access to your accounts and restore your accounts, then it's just going to be a completely different recovery phrase. You cannot get a single word wrong. So in that case, if you did switch up those words, then your Nano would accept that recovery phrase because it's a valid recovery phrase. That's still a valid recovery phrase word, but it will not let you into your accounts. You'll get an error message saying that it's not the right recovery phrase for that account. Okay. Pioneer. All right. Figure. Merit. Bomb. Village. Eagle. And Flint. Right. Okay, so now we have our 24 words written down fairly neatly, definitely legible. I am confident that in, if 5 years goes by and I have to regain access to these accounts using these words, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to figure out what words those are. It's written down pretty good. So I'm okay with that. So at this point, we'll scroll again to the right, and now it's going to make you verify your words anyway. Because it really is very, very important that no mistakes are made. If you were to write down your words incorrectly and there is no actual verification step, then and it just let you accept that, then you could go forever, like until you could go for a long time thinking that you have the right recovery phrase written down and assuming that if the worst happened, you would be able to regain access to your accounts, only to find out later that a mistake was made. And these types of tickets are really, really hard to help people with because there's not really much we can do as customer support agents to help somebody with their recovery phrase because that's a very private thing. And we have no way of knowing what the recovery phrase should have been anyway, even if they were to share it with us. So this is very much on the individual user to get this right. And so if you are setting up your device and you're not comfortable with this and you feel like maybe you have more questions that I'm not addressing right here, or you don't want to drop them in the chat. It looks like Ben is rapid firing, answering questions. Thank you so much for that, Ben. However, if you do want more personalized one-on-one support to talk about recovery phrases and the best place, maybe explore the best option for you in your situation on how to deal with all this, please reach out to us. We would very much love to help you. Because this is the most important thing in your crypto journey. If you choose to go to cold storage, it's all about your recovery phrase. Okay, so we're going to confirm it now. Okay, so during the confirmation step, it doesn't make you actually type in the words like it used to. Now it just will give you a random set of words, and you just have to click through until you find the right one. So we got catalog, and then I'm quickly tapping both buttons again to select the word. Second word is water. There it is. Social. Okay. I'll just go through and knock this out real quick. While you're going through this step, keep in mind that if you do accidentally select the wrong word, it's going to let you do that. It's not going to tell you right away that that wasn't the right word. It's going to make you wait until the very end, and then it's going to say, "Oop, invalid. That's not the right phrase." So make sure you take your time with this. It's really easy to accidentally select the wrong word, and then like trying to maybe figure out like what went wrong, and then you have this recovery phrase written down. And at that point, it'd probably be best to completely start over. But again, if you have questions and you're running into that, then you can reach out to us at our support page at support.ledger.com, and we can help you out with that because it is not, it is a very technical process at this point. Pioneer, figure, All right, see, oh, yep, we're good to go. So if you get this screen, you'll know you did it right. It says your recovery phrase is set. Keep it in a secure place. So at this point, this is a very, very important message right here. So we've already talked about it. I won't beat it too hard into the ground, but make sure these words right here, which by the way, I'm not going to be loading any crypto onto this, any accounts tied to this recovery phrase. This is going to be a dead recovery phrase that I'm going to trash after this live stream. It's just for demonstration purposes. So you would obviously never want to expose your actual recovery phrase in this way to the internet. You may even want to, this may be a little, possibly conspiratorial to some people, but you never know. You may not even want to do it in front of a webcam that's connected to the internet, because you never know if there's a virus that has control of that webcam. Not likely. I'm not trying to scare anybody by any means, but just for peace of mind, you can set this thing up and keep it completely offline. You don't want to take a picture of this recovery phrase and save it on your phone. There is software out there that if it gains access to your phone, it can scan your device and look for patterns of recovery phrase patterns. So you don't want a picture of it. You don't want it anywhere online at all. So at this point, if I were setting up this device myself, what I would do is I'd close it and I would slip this into a lockbox or a safe, or maybe put it in a waterproof bag or something, and put it, like, store it in my garage or just somewhere safe, like somewhere where you are relatively certain no one's going to be able to get their hands on it physically. And then as long as you keep it offline, then you're guaranteeing that no one's going to get their hands on it digitally. So right now I'm just going to set it to the side, but simulating putting this in a secure, safe place completely offline. Okay, recovery phrase is set. If it's lost, if you lose your recovery phrase, so if you lose your recovery phrase and you still have access to your Nano, you'd still be able to sign transactions. But at this point, you can't get your recovery phrase from your Nano. So if you do lose your copy of your recovery phrase, it's gone, 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 like, unless you can find it. So if that does happen, if you lose this, like house fire or misplace it, or anything, you would want to actually generate a new recovery phrase. You'd want to remove all crypto while you still have access to it from the device and generate a new recovery phrase. Okay, never share it with anyone. Ledger will never ask you for it. That's a very important message right there. All right, we're going to press both buttons to continue. Finish initializing the device. Device is ready. And now we're going to go to dashboard. And you can see that we have two options here: install app or control center. And the only reason that these are here is to let you know how to do these things. This is another kind of minor point of confusion for some people, and totally understandable. But if you were to click on install app, it's just going to tell you to go to use manager and Ledger Live to install apps. You can't actually install an app from that button. It's just telling you how to do it. And then if you want to get to the control center, which is a settings menu, if you double tap on that, it's again just going to tell you how to do it. It's not going to let you get to it. So to get to it, it says to hold both buttons. So that's what I was talking about before, to get to the settings menu. So now if I hold both buttons down, then it goes to the actual control center. I can access the settings menu, I can lock the device, or I can close the control center. That's pretty much it for the Nano S Plus. The Nano X has some additional options like Bluetooth and whatnot, but for the Nano S Plus, this is it. So I'm going to go into the settings. I can go into security. I can go into passphrase. That's a totally different thing. We're going to go to pin lock. I'm going to set that for no pin lock, and screensaver for no screensaver. This is just going to ensure that my device doesn't go to sleep on me during the this demonstration. All right, cool. So now we are fully set up. Our device is fully set up. We have our recovery phrase. Now we just need to connect to Ledger Live. So let's go to next step. I understand. Oh, I did kind of skip a lot of this stuff. Yeah, I always get ahead of myself whenever I do these steps. So basically, this is just for a new user. This is going to walk you through all the steps we just did, setting up the PIN code, the recovery phrase, and connecting to Ledger Live. But we can just go ahead and skip through this. Okay, we did set our pin code. It is very unsecure, 1111. It's actually telling you right now, don't ever do that. So don't be like me in this case. Yeah, you definitely want it to be as random and hard to guess as possible. However, I will say that there is a really cool security feature of the Nano, and I'll show it to you right now. So I'm gonna hold both buttons. I'm going to lock the device to force it into screensaver mode and to make it ask me for my pin again. So now look what happened. So our pin, we know the pin for this device. It's 1111. If I put in 3308, for instance, and I'm trying to guess the pin, then check that out. It says invalid pin, 2 attempts left. So if I were to enter in the incorrect pin 2 more times, this device is going to get factory reset, and it will then be impossible to access anything on the device. It'll revert it back to welcome to Ledger, and there will be no private keys, nothing on this device. So this kind of makes it impossible for somebody to steal your device and try to guess your pin, because it's just going to result in a factory reset if they try to do that. There's really no way someone's going to guess a truly random 8-digit pin within 3 attempts. And if I were to unplug this and plug it back in, it already knows. Like it right back to it. It already knows that it's already been attempted once incorrectly. There's 2 more attempts. There's no way to bypass this or get around that. So we're gonna go back in, doing the correct pin, 1111, and we're back in. Okay, so let's go back to Ledger Live here. We're gonna get started. I understand if I lose my recovery phrase, I will not be able to access my crypto in the case that I lose my Nano. I believe I hammered that home. I hope so. We have our recovery sheet. We wrote down our words, and we are going to store them somewhere safe, offline. Next step. Oh, I jumped ahead again. All right, so we're good. We confirmed it. We repeated all words. More stuff about the recovery phrase. If it seems like we're beating you over the head with the importance of the recovery phrase, then that was the intention. That's how important this is. Okay. All right, we're done. Let's get started. Where should I store my recovery phrase? Offline. Never on a computer, never anywhere that can connect to the internet. All right, game on. We're not going to take the quiz because we are already past the 30-minute mark, but the quiz is basically just going to ask you questions like, how should I store my recovery phrase? Just basics, but it's good to do. It's good to do the quiz. Let's go to the next step. So this right here is what's known as a genuine check. So this is another fail-safe for Ledger Live. You'll notice that we don't have any Nano apps stored on the device right now, installed on it. You do need Nano apps in order to create accounts on the blockchain. You can't create an account. You can't use this Nano to create an account and load crypto onto it without first verifying that the firmware inside this device is legitimate and authentic. And so if there was any tampering or anything done to this device, like en route to your location, it's going to just fail this check. It's going to be a hard stop right now. So we're going to go ahead and check the Nano. Okay, we are going to allow Ledger Manager. And all good. It's a quick check. It's not very complicated. It's just Ledger Live is like, is this Nano genuine? Yes or no? And this one is. So we're going to continue. And now we're in Ledger Live. All right, awesome. So you'll notice in Ledger Live, we have all these different tabs over here on the left. I probably won't, well, I might get into it a little bit. It might be interesting. But for now, let's just go ahead and set up accounts and install Nano apps so I can show you that. Okay, so we can't get into the accounts tab yet because we don't have any accounts. We can't send or receive, buy, sell, or swap. We can't do anything involving actual crypto right now because we don't have any crypto accounts. So let's fix that. Let's go to the My Ledger tab. Excuse me. Okay, so now that we're in the My Ledger tab, So you'll notice that it didn't ask us to do the genuine check again because we did just do it. However, if I were to break this connection or close Ledger Live and reopen it, anytime you want to get into the My Ledger tab for every new session, you will have to go through the genuine check. So remember that every time you go to the My Ledger tab, fresh, if you connect your device and you open Ledger Live and you want to do some stuff, you'll always have to do the genuine check before you can get into the My Ledger tab, just as a fail-safe. That way, it's not possible to install any of these apps on a device that's not genuine. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to create an Ethereum account. So we need to install the Ethereum application. So let's do that. You'll see right there, it takes up this much space on the Nano. Right here, it's going to go ahead and install. You'll see the loading bar right there. And you'll see it's loading on the screen as well on Ledger Live. All right, so we got it installed. It takes up this much space on the Nano S Plus, and we still have all this space in the memory. It's important to note that this Nano app right here, all it does is it gives your Nano the ability to communicate with the blockchain that you're trying to interact with. Like you'll see that there's one for all the blockchains. You got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, XRP, Cardano, Doge, all these different blockchains. With all that they all have their own individual Nano app to communicate with that specific blockchain and create accounts on that specific blockchain. But your actual crypto is actually stored on that blockchain. This Nano app just gives your device the tools to communicate with that blockchain. And so for this reason, even though this Ethereum app takes up this much room, you may notice like man, look at all those apps. What if I had 100 different types of crypto on 100 different blockchains? Like I doubt that this is going to hold 100 apps on this Nano app. And that's a really fair point. However, it's important to note that you can uninstall Nano apps and reinstall them without having any impact on your accounts at all. And I'll kind of show you what I mean. So we'll go here and go to Add Account. Now that we have the Ethereum application, we can we can create an Ethereum account. So we're going to open up the Ethereum app. It can sometimes take a little bit to sync. All right, cool. I'm going to label this account. At this point, when you add a new account, you can give it whatever name you want. It's arbitrary. This name isn't actually tied to your physical account, your actual crypto account in any way. It's just how it's labeled in Ledger Live. But it's not actually like your crypto account. Like you're not naming your account on the blockchain. Your account on the blockchain is just a long string of random characters that make up your private key, your wallet address. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add that account. Okay. All right. So it looks like we now have our Ethereum account. All right, cool. So now if we go back to the My Ledger tab, you can see that, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and go to the apps installed. I'm going to uninstall the Ethereum application. Now let's imagine a scenario where my Nano was full of space, and this is mainly for initial Nano S users who could only have a very limited amount of space on their device. Let's say now my device was full and I wanted to make a Bitcoin account. I can uninstall the Ethereum app, add the Bitcoin app, create my account, and then and be good to go. Now, if you go back to the accounts tab, you'll see I don't even have the Ethereum app on my device anymore. However, my account is still here. It still exists. And so I can go here, I can go to the receive, and it's going to want me to have the Ethereum app to have it on my device, but I'm going to show you guys something here real quick. I'm going to say it's checking app dependencies. It knows that I don't have the Ethereum app. So I'm going to go don't have your device. I'm going to generate my public key anyway. This is my public wallet address for the Ethereum account. This is all that Ledger Live has right here. So So this is how Ledger Live is able to still display your account details with data pulled from the blockchain without even having the Nano app installed. However, if I want to actually access this account, let's say I had crypto in this account and I wanted to send it away, I would have to go back to the My Ledger tab, install the Ethereum app to make that transaction. And I just like to show that as a demonstration. That way, people kind of get a feel for what the Nano app is versus because it's all very confusing. It's all over the place. So I try to be as clear as possible. It looks like there is a question. Looks like Alexandria Dale. Hi, is asking what is a blockchain? That's a really good question, and it's kind of a difficult question to answer, but I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna try to answer that for you. So a blockchain is it's basically it's a series of transactions in a ledger where oh man, because there's different kinds of blockchain. So I'm trying to keep it very high level. So basically imagine a blockchain as being just a long ledger of transactions that are cemented in place, where each block contains a certain amount of transaction data. Like I send you 1 Ethereum, and now on the blockchain, it says, this account address sent this account address 1 Ethereum, confirmed on the blockchain, written into the blockchain. Now it's set in stone. And then and it goes in, and each successive block builds on itself so it's basically just a block of transactions. It's hard to explain because it seems like it should be so much more than that, and it is so much more than that, more technical than that, but essentially that's really what it is. It's just a block of transactions that are set in place, and then everyone else that operates on that network all have the exact same copy of that blockchain. They all agree that these transactions took place and that they exist and that they're real, and that's what makes them kind of real. I may have just been created more confusion, but if you have more questions, feel free to drop them, and I'll try to elaborate on that. Yeah, so it looks like we do have a little bit of time. I could go in and just start answering questions, but I also could show you more stuff in Ledger Live. Oh yeah, actually, I want to show you this real quick. Let's go back here. Okay, so you'll see here that the Nano S Plus has a firmware update. It'll show up as a orange banner up here at the top. And I definitely want to address this because it's really important to keep your device. So firmware is basically just another name for the operating system. Every electronic device not every electronic device, but most electronic devices have some sort of operating system, firmware. Yeah, no problem, Alexandria. Yeah, of course. So most devices do have that. Sometimes they call it the firmware. Sometimes they call it the operating system. So it is important. If you think about on your phone, you have updates for your phone all the time, and that's because things change constantly in the internet world, and your phone has to continuously update to stay relevant in that space, to be able to communicate with all the changes that are taking place in that space. And it's pretty constant. And the same thing is true with crypto and the blockchain world, where different applications like the Bitcoin app, the Ethereum app, there will be upgrades and changes to these networks where, and so then as a result, the Nano apps have to be updated in order to be able to successfully continue to communicate with that network and with the changes made on that network. And the same thing is true with the operating system. The device has to have all the tools it needs to continue operating and continue signing transactions. So you want to make sure that you always stay as up to date as possible by getting your firmware up to date. So let's go ahead and update our firmware. It's just as important here as it is, updating your phone. If you ever go through a period where you don't update your phone for a long period of time and you don't have automatic updates turned on, or your computer for that matter, you'll probably notice that it'll start to not run very well. It'll glitch out, it'll freeze up, and then eventually it'll probably force you to update. However, these devices will never force you to update. They just, well, actually that's not true. I think that there are some actions that you take in Ledger Live where it'll be like, nope, you need to update to do that. So it is getting better about that. So we're gonna go ahead and update our firmware so I can show you what that looks like. Okay, so first thing that pops up, firmware update. This so it's we're updating to the look they did update the OS version, operating system version. Okay, cool. So I like that they put that there because it kind of like dispels some of the mystery around the word firmware. It really is just another name for operating system. Okay. So it's telling you what this new OS update's gonna do. It's gonna be a redesigned pin code. It's gonna support the French and Spanish language, which is super, super cool. We go down here. You'll see that there's this button that you have to push. I have my recovery phrase. So the only reason that that's there is because there is a chance that during the update, a nano can get factory reset. Like if something happens, like because remember you're reflashing an entirely new updated version of the OS onto this, and you know sometimes there's like minor glitches or something that can happen, and the device could get factory reset. It doesn't happen very often. In fact, it hardly ever happens, but have seen it happen before. And so as a result, we put this here to make sure that you have your recovery phrase. We're never going to ask you for it. We don't want to know what that recovery phrase is. We just want to make sure you have it, because if your device does get reset during this process, this will be the only way to restore it is with your words. So if it got reset, it would, you'd plug it in and it would say, "Welcome to Ledger Nano S Plus again." You'd be like, "What the heck? You know what happened to my device?" And it's like, "Oh, it must have got reset. Shoot, I better go get my words and restore from recovery phrase and do that." So just remember that. That's the only reason that we put this here. We're not asking you for your recovery phrase. We're just making sure that you have it in that event. We'll continue. And it's going to download the update. And it takes a little bit. You'll see it's on the screen as well as on the screen of Ledger Live. Okay. And go here. We're going to confirm the update. Everything that you do, any change you ever make to this device, you have to confirm it on the device. We're going to do that. It's going to process. Cool. Wants our PIN. So basically, if it asks you for your PIN, that's good. So you'll know it did not reset, because if it reset, it wouldn't know your PIN anymore. So it wouldn't ask for it. 1111. And then now we're back in, just like that. Firmware has been updated. So now if we did have a bunch of nano apps installed on here, I don't know if any of you have been to my my Wednesday live streams where I actually show you like stuff in Ledger Live with my own personal work account. You'll know that I have like 50 nano apps installed on my Nano S Plus that I use for work. And so at this point, you can do install all apps, and it'll go through and reinstall all the apps back on your device for you. But we don't have any apps installed on this device. I'm just gonna go ahead and close this. Oh, looks like. Oh yeah, for sure. All right, so it looks like I have a request from our moderator. He's asking me, can you show the buy, sell, swap tabs and talk a bit about on-off ramps? That's for sure, definitely. Let's do that. Okay. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to switch nanos. I'm going to pull out my work nano. This one was great for the demonstration, but there's no crypto tied to the recovery phrase on this, so it'd be a little bit harder for me to show you things in Ledger Live. But this creates an excellent demonstration opportunity. So let me go ahead and put this nano down. In fact, I'll put it back in the view too. Let me open up my nano case here. And yes, I have to have a nano case because I use so many nanos. Okay. I'm gonna pull out the one I use for work mostly. All right. Let me switch to the big monitor shot. Let me get out of this tab right here. I'm just gonna go straight here to the portfolio tab. Let me make sure I still have that account. I didn't delete that account. Okay, cool, awesome. I got that ETH test account right there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and plug in my work nano. And then I'm going to secretly enter my PIN because this actually does have funds on it. Not a whole lot, but still. Okay, cool. So there's my work nano. I will go ahead and go to the My Ledger tab so you can see how many, what I was talking about with the nano apps I have installed. So now we have a new nano connected. We have to allow the secure connection with Ledger. All right, cool. So yeah, I'm almost full. I have 30 apps. The Nano actually, it can hold up to like 50 or more apps, depending on which ones you have installed. But since I have a lot of like layer one blockchain apps installed that are that have their own app and they're not a dependent of like say the Ethereum application, which if you'll notice the Binance Smart Chain app right here is only 0.6 kilobytes, whereas the Ethereum app is 73 kilobytes. Well, that's because the Binance Smart Chain app mostly uses the Ethereum app. So you'd have to have the Ethereum app installed as well as the Binance Smart Chain app, but the Binance Smart Chain app does not take up much space at all on its own. All right, so I'm going to go to accounts, and I am going to add my Ethereum account from this Nano into this Ledger Live. So we're going to choose Ethereum. We're going to open the Ethereum app so that I can talk to that blockchain and derive my account address. So right now it is it's syncing up and it's deriving the account addresses that can be derived from the unique recovery phrase inside this Nano, which is different than this one. We just set this one up with its own unique recovery phrase, and then this one has its own. So you'll see here that it does have a balance of ETH right there, which it's pulling in that data directly from the blockchain. This ETH does not live inside this Nano. It doesn't live inside Ledger Live, obviously, because it's not there yet. So yeah, so it's just seeing that this account is tied to that. So we're gonna go ahead and add that. So now we have an account here with a little bit of ETH. So now we can go to the buy, sell, swap tabs and kind of play around a little bit. So the buy, sell tab, it's important to note with the buy sell tabs that it's going to be kind of different based on, let me switch back here. It's going to be a little bit different based on what region you live in, and what country you're in. So Ledger Live is itself is really just there to help you manage your assets. That's mostly what we offer from Ledger, the company, is a secure way to manage your assets. But all the other features, buying, selling, swapping, and anything in the Discover tab is actually all things that are other companies that we're partnered with that have put their services in Ledger Live just to make it an easier experience for users. That way you don't have to go out into the Web3 world to do all these things if you don't want to. It gives an option to do these things from Ledger Live if you're more comfortable doing that. And note that anything in Ledger Live is it is vetted by us, to the best of our ability. So yeah, so it can create a more user-friendly experience for people that are just kind of getting into crypto, and also for experienced users as well, like just depending on what your preference is. But knowing that, for instance, I live in the United States. And so I cannot buy XRP because XRP is not available in my country. So I won't be able to do that through Ledger Live because of where I live. And because the providers that offer these services, they have to abide by the laws of whatever country that you're in. And it's very important that they do so. So let's switch back here and let's just see what's available. All right, so let's compare the providers. We want to buy. Let's say, let's see what happens if I click XRP. Oh, I don't have an XRP account, of course, set up in Ledger Live. Let's just skip that. Let's just go to Ethereum. I hope you can just take my word for that on that one. All right. So I want to buy, let's say Ethereum. I have an Ethereum account. It's going to let me. Let's say I want $100 worth. Okay. I'm going to confirm. It already knows that I'm in the United States, so it's going to default on that. So let's say I want to use Visa to do this. Let's find eligible providers. And so here is all of the providers that I could use legally where I'm at to make this purchase. And it'll even tell you what the best buy is right here. Look at that. So me spending $100, if I did it through Mercurio, it says it's the best price, and that's true. Look, I get the most ETH for my buck, so it's only going to cost a few dollars in exchange in transaction fees. However, Let's see what happens when I click on it. So you'll note here that's asking me for an email address. And some of you might be like, "Oh, I thought Ledger didn't ask for email addresses. I thought this was supposed to be anonymous." And that is an excellent point, and you are absolutely correct. Ledger will never ask you for your personal information in Ledger Live. You are free to use Ledger Live anonymously as much as you would like to manage your crypto accounts. However, it was asked to specifically talk about on and off ramps. And basically there is a bottleneck there with the on and off ramps where you have to go through KYC is the acronym people say. It stands for Know Your Customer. I usually like to use the term identity verification. So all of these, to purchase or sell crypto, it has to be done through a centralized entity that's licensed to do so. It's not legal to have a provider in here that sells crypto off the books anonymously. That has to be done through a centralized exchange, which is why to use these services, you will have to actually create an account with that provider, and you can do it right from Ledger Live, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and move past this. Let's switch back to the big monitor and let's check out the swap tab. This is kind of a different story. Oh, and I would also like to mention that currently the only asset that can be sold in Ledger Live is Bitcoin. So if you have other assets that you would like to sell, then you will have to transfer those assets outside of Ledger Live to a centralized exchange to sell them. However, there are swap features in Ledger Live that do not require KYC with certain swap providers. It's not every crypto. You won't be able to swap any crypto for any crypto without KYC, depending on what you're trying to do. But you will be able to do some. Like for instance, right here, it's going to let me go from ETH to Bitcoin using CIC. And so I would actually have to add a Bitcoin account to do that and then go. But there's also other swap providers. Actually, I think this is kind of hard. I think CIC might be the only swap provider available in the US. And it makes it kind of hard to show for demonstrations. But if you go here to the Discover tab, there's all these really cool dApps in here that you can interact with straight from the application without having to go to them. Like for instance, this Zerion app is really cool. If you ever have like account synchronization issues in Ledger Live, you can go to Zerion and you can like check out here. It'll pick up all your DeFi stuff, all your ETH account, all your tokens that you have in your ETH account, and it'll display that for you. But you can also go here if you live outside the US. You can use the Paraswap app, which is probably going to give me, right here. It's not available in my country, so it appears you're connected in an unsupported jurisdiction. There's really no good way to get around that, no legal way to get around that. So it's kind of a bummer because Paraswap is really cool, but I'm not allowed to use it, and then that's okay. There's other services that I can use in the US. However, if you live in somewhere where the Paraswap is available, this is what's known as a DEX aggregator, and decentralized DEX stands for decentralized exchange. So what this will do is this will actually ping. It'll search for the best possible rate that you can get amongst all the decentralized exchanges, and it'll let you make your swap from the best available rate. So this is definitely something to check out if you're able to use it. Another one along the same vein is the 1inch app. It's the same thing. It's another DEX aggregator. I like 1inch as well, but it won't even load for me right now. So if you're in a place that you can use those, that's awesome. Let me switch back here. So I didn't go too much into detail on, you saw me add a second nano to Ledger Live and add an account. And I'm going to switch back. I'm just going to show you. All right, so if I go here to the accounts tab, you'll see that it's got the account that I just added with this nano. It's also got the account that I just added with this nano. And I can break the connection right here. Have these nanos completely unconnected, and the accounts still remain. And that's because it does not need my nano to be able to see where this, to be able to see the funds in this account. And I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly where this information is coming from. So we're going to go to receive, which I don't technically need to have my nano connected to generate the receive address. This is a public wallet address. It is really good to verify this wallet address. If you are going to send funds from this account to this account in Ledger Live, I definitely recommend not clicking that don't have your nano button, letting the nano generate the receive address on the screen. That way you can verify and make sure it's accurate. But since I'm not sending any funds to this account, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this address. And I'm going to go here to this Chrome that I have open. I'm going to go to a new tab, and I'm going to go to etherscan.io. This is the block explorer, the main block explorer for the Ethereum blockchain. So basically what this does is this can let you see any assets in any wallet on the Ethereum network with only the public wallet address. So I'm going to paste in my public wallet address. I'm going to search for it. And you'll see right there, it's got the exact same data. It's actually got more data. You'll see that the digits extend out on this ETH balance to whatever that is, 12, 13 different digits. And it's got my value. It's got all my tokens right here. I've got a little bit of Matic and a little bit of Chainlink. It's got all my transactions. You're free to go on here and see every single thing I've ever been up to for the entire history of this account. Right here. It's really not that much. I only use it for work stuff, for demonstration. So 22 total transactions, but you can see everything I've done if you'd like to, and you're welcome to. I don't mind. It's all public information. But that same thing is true. So that's basically where Ledger Live is getting its information from. Your crypto is not in here. Ledger Live is just using your public wallet address to pull in your account details, which looks a little bit different here than it does on Etherscan, but it's all the exact same data. Yep. Which is why I'm able to safely remove that account from Ledger Live, add it back in, delete it, remove the Nano app, as long as the only thing that matters is that the recovery phrase stored in this device is the exact same recovery phrase that was used to create that account. As long as the recovery phrase doesn't change, you can connect your Nano to 1,000 different Ledger Lives and import your account everywhere and have it display. You can connect 1,000 different Nanos to a single Ledger Live, import the accounts, and have all those accounts in Ledger Live. Your crypto only exists on the blockchain. Ledger Live is just here to help you manage that. So it's really important to understand that when you're getting into Ledger Live. And the reason it's important is because sometimes, you know, like any application, Ledger Live might have trouble communicating with the blockchain. And a lot of users experience this, and it'll say synchronization error. Let me show you. It'll say up here at the top, it says synchronize up here, but it may say synchronization error with a little red X. And maybe with your account, instead of a green check mark, there's a red X and it says error. Well, if that ever happens, then you know that there's not necessarily anything wrong with your crypto. It could just be that Ledger Live is having trouble communicating with the blockchain. And so then you can go in, you can clear your cache. You can go up here to the settings menu. You can go to help and you can clear your cache. And that will, in most cases, force Ledger Live to resync with the blockchain. It'll just go through and sync up all your accounts again. And so mainly I like to show that because it can be pretty distressing if like if you're having these synchronization errors and like it's not showing your correct balance and maybe off or maybe showing no balance. That's always the first thing to check. Like okay, like don't panic. This is just an application that's helping me manage my assets, but this is not my assets. So let me just take a step back, maybe copy my public wallet address, go to the block explorer, see what's going on, verify my data, my account details, make sure everything's good. Or if you're not comfortable doing that, just reach out to us. Go to support.ledger.com. We are more than happy to help with any issues that you're having. Even if you're having issues outside of Ledger Live, if you're having issues somewhere else in the crypto space, even if you just have questions about something, you know, even if we're not familiar, we'll do our best to help you. Like that's our job. We're just trying to help people stay safe in the crypto space to the best of our ability. So yeah, I think I'm going to end it on this note. And I hope that you all found value in this. Once again, Ben, thank you so much for doing this, taking your time to do this. Excellent moderator. So yeah, on that note, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I will not be here next week. I'm going to be out of town, so there will likely be somebody else to take my place for the Wednesday Ask Me Anything, and also for the Friday onboarding, which is the session we had today. But we are going to do our best to make sure that those still happen. So yeah, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, fantastic week next week. And remember, keep your keys safe and never share it online. All right, everybody. Have a good one.